Hey, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about reviewing our yearly goals, seeing how we've done so far, and how to finish 2017 strong, even if things haven't gone the way you planned so far. Okay, and then we're also going to be reviewing some of the things I've learned so far in 2017, and spoiler alert, things have definitely not gone according to plan for me. So let's go ahead and jump in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Yesenia, and I'm the founder of Writer Mom, and it's just a place where you can hang out with other writers who are also working on their writing careers, but who want to build a happy and fulfilling life at the same time. And if you're here, thank you again for joining me, and if you could say hi in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. Tell us who you are and what's going on with you and your goals. Like I said, we're going to be talking about reviewing our yearly goals and then how we can finish strong through the rest of the year, through the second half of the year. So right now we're in July, and one really important thing that you should be doing is going through your yearly goals. Okay, so if you're like me, you came up with some really smart goals at the beginning of the year, and now it's time to pull those out again and see how you're doing. Okay? So the very first thing you need to do is check off anything that you have been able to accomplish so far. Okay? And then we're going to look at the rest of your goals, and then, you know, what hasn't been working so far this year, what haven't you been able to do. It's really important to take a few minutes, 20-30 minutes around this time, now that half of the year is gone, and determine, what you need to do for the rest of 2017. So are there any changes you need to make? Are you on track? Is there anywhere you need to pivot? Okay, so we're gonna come up with that, with that plan to pivot by looking at how our first year has gone. Okay, so go through all of your goals. What were your wins? What were the things that you wish you could have gone, but something went wrong or things didn't work out? Well, what do you wish had gone differently? Write down what you're proud of that you did. What weren't you able to do? And the important thing here is to write it all down. So what I do is at the beginning of the year, I wrote down a list of all of my yearly goals. This is what I want to do. These are the books I want to write. These are the things I want to do for marketing, kind of all the big picture stuff that I wanted to do, that if I look back on 2017, I'd be like, wow, I had a really great year. Okay. So go through that and write, reflect. Take a few minutes to just write down or type out how your year has gone so far. Cross off the things that you did, look back on the things that haven't been crossed off, and think about why that is, what happened, what frustrated you, what felt great, and how are you feeling about everything? How are you feeling about your year so far, and your writing, your publishing, and your marketing? Okay, so once you do that and once you reflect, it's time to get into gear for the next half of the year. Okay, and now for me, I'm going to go ahead and share with you that my first half of the year has not gone how I thought it would. I just did my mid-year reflection the other day, and I went through everything that I was supposed to have done by now, and like what I was supposed to have done in 2 quarters for 2017, so the first 6 months, I had only done 1 quarter's worth of items. So like my list of yearly goals right now, there's only like 25% done, and that really stinks. I was kind of bummed out about it because I was hoping to have come farther by now, but that's just how it is sometimes, especially when you're a parent or when you have a full-time job or you have like other family things going on or other things in your life. That's just how it is, And so another important thing that you need to do is to accept that things don't always go the way you plan, and that's okay. There were a ton of things that I didn't get to. I have finished only 25% of my yearly goals, and here we are halfway through the year. You know, that's how it is. We don't always accomplish everything we set out to. And sometimes we aim a little bit high and we fall a little bit short, but that's okay. It's really important that you're kind to yourself, that you understand like what's going on, that, you know, sometimes, you know, kids go through a difficult phase or they need a lot of attention. So just remember to be kind to yourself. And, you know, there's no use in kind of beating yourself up because you didn't reach all of your goals. And if you have, you know, definitely give yourself some kind of reward because that's awesome. That's not always possible. Okay. And I know for me, I'm in a season of life right now where sometimes it's really hard because I have high expectations for myself, and like both as a writer and as a mom. And so, you know, it's really hard because I have 2 small children, and so one or the other always seems to be sacrificed. Either, you know, I feel like I really need to be a good mom, spend time with my kids, and then, you know, my writing kind of gets shoved aside, or vice versa. You know, I focus on my writing and then I feel guilty because I feel like I should be spending more time with my kids. So, you know, if that's you too, don't feel bad. It's just a season of life, and it's not going to last forever. And especially with like time and energy are concerned, you know, you just have to do your best and keep going. Okay, so to recap so far, we're talking about going over our yearly goals, things I've learned so far this year, and how to finish the year strong. Step number 1 was to reflect on the first part of your year, your wins, your challenges, what happened. Write down how things went so far in the first 6 months of the year. And then number 2, accept that sometimes life happens and you just have to do your best and keep going. And then step number 3 that you should be doing is to figure out how you need to pivot. Okay, so for me, like I said, I feel like I'm way behind. So what I decided to do is that I need to look at the rest of my goals that I wrote down initially for the year, and I am going to cut back as much as possible. So obviously going from 1 kid to 2, you know, it's really hard and more difficult than I thought, and it's taking a lot of time to be a parent to 2 kids. So I am cutting back to the essentials, like what is the most important for me to accomplish the rest of 2017 in these 6 months that I have left. Okay, and so I looked at my list of goals and I just started like deleting stuff. You know, that's how it is when you're a parent. Sometimes like you're stretched really thin, or like if you have other stuff going on, not just being a parent, you're stretched really thin, and so you just need to like, I just start deleting recently. That's like my go-to solution, is just, okay, what can I cut out from my life, because obviously I'm doing too much, and I kind of have a bad habit of that. I tend to take on too much and always have a full plate, but lately I'm kind of like rejoicing and just like not doing things anymore. So yeah, goals change, plans change, and that's okay. Pivoting like this has actually made me like newly excited for these goals and kind of given me some new motivation as I've, you know, adjusted my priorities. Because it's obvious that I'm not going to be able to do everything on that original list of goals for the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back as much as I can and focus on what's left. And that stuff that's left is stuff that's going to, like, I'm really excited about. It's going to make me happy, and it's stuff that's going to move my business forward. Let's see here. Part of, you know, what I'm focusing on for the year is not just my writing goals and being a mom, but also like my health. I've learned a lot this year that, you know, burnout is not fun, and when I take on too much, like, I can't always do it. Like, it's really hard, and it's not good for you when you take on too much and you just burn out constantly. So for me, I'm also, you know, not just focusing on those goals, but making my health a priority, having lots of time with my kids, time for myself to just go outside for a walk or a run or watch TV sometimes, so that I'm not burning out constantly, and then I have to go back to square one because I feel horrible and I need time off. You know, that's not great for your productivity either. So, you know, you need to put your health first and your well-being first so that you can really do great on these goals. Okay, so in reviewing our goals, we said already, you know, first reflect on how you did the first half of the year. Number 2, accept that things don't always go according to plan. Be kind to yourself. It's a season of life. Number 3, we just talked about pivoting. Goals change, priorities change. Figure out what's going to be changing for you, if anything, for the rest of the year. And then to do this, what really helps in order for you to figure out what is most important, if you do need to make changes, is to make a brain dump. Okay? So take everything out of your head, grab a notebook or open up Evernote or some kind of like, your notes app or anything like that, and just write down everything. Write down what's important to you, what's important that you get done for this year, books you want to write, marketing, things you want to do, anything like that. Just write it all down, all the ideas that you have, things that you have going on. And then organize it. Once you see it on paper or on your screen, it's going to be easier for you to organize it, see what's really important, take stuff off, as I like to do, and then help you see if you're doing too much. I know once I saw it all on paper, I was just doing way too much, and so I just decided to cut stuff and push stuff back for next year. Okay, and then lastly, what helps is for you to remember, as you move forward for the next 6 months of the year, and for you to really finish strong, is you need to remember why you're doing all of this in the first place. Why are you staying up late or getting up early or sacrificing a little bit of time with your kids, your spouse, or whatever it is that you have going on? Why are you doing this? For me, it's because I love running my own business. I want this to be a full-time thing with full-time income, and it makes me happy. I would not be myself if I were not doing this, if I were not writing books and sharing stories, and even, with Writer Mom, this fulfills me, and so that's why I'm doing this. This is why these goals are important for me, and this is why I get up every morning and I sit down at my desk and I do this. So think about, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Definitely think about that and refresh your memory, because sometimes we forget and we kind of lose motivation. And so, it's really important that you think about that as you start the next half of the year. Okay, so remember that when the going gets tough, you have a really important reason as to why you're focusing on these goals. Okay? So another quick recap, just really quick, how to finish your year strong. Number 1, reflect on the first half of the year, wins, challenges, and what worked, what didn't work for you. Number 2, accept that if things didn't go according to plan, it's a season of life, things happen, it's okay. Number 3, pivot, figure out what, if you just took on too much and you're really stressed out, figure out what you need to remove from your life, and pivot. Figure out what are you going to do differently in the next 6 months of the year, so that you finish 2017 really, really strong. Okay, and a tip for that is to make a brain dump, put it all on paper, and then from there you can move stuff, delete stuff, figure out what's important to you. And last tip is to figure out why you're doing this in the first place. When you have those really tough days, maybe your kids are having tantrums, or you have a horrible day at work and you feel like, what's the point of me even going home and spending 15 minutes on my book or whatever. Remember, this, for me, this is what makes me happy. So, think about what that is for you. Okay? So, it was really fun chatting with you guys. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to doing these every Thursday at 2 o'clock. And next week we'll be discussing something differently. If you found this useful, definitely give it a like or a comment. Tell me what works for you. How are your goals going this year? And if you really found it useful and want to help me out, I hope you'll give it a share and share it with somebody who you think will also find it useful. And so yeah. I think I'm going to get going because my kids are at the sitters and I need to pick them up, because fortunately I can't just leave them there all day. But yeah, this has been really fun. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I'm glad I did it. And, it's another way to, try something new. So Again, I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you say hi in the comments. And I will see you next week, Thursday at 2. Yeah, so bye.